Hey there, this is Kim Howerton, and I am bringing you today one of my very favorite recipes, which is keto pumpkin bread. All right, so let's dive into it, shall we? First thing first, separate 8 room temperature eggs carefully and set those aside. And then we're gonna put all our dry ingredients together. First, the pork panko or ground pork rinds. Yes, these are essential for this recipe. Some sweetener. Then I got some homemade or home mixed spice mix, a pumpkin pie spice mix that's on my website. The ones you get in the store pre-mixed are often very stale, so mix your own fresh. Then we've got some coconut flour, some baking powder, and then we're just gonna mush that all together, make sure it's well mixed, and also smack out any lumps. So sometimes dry ingredients, they can get a little lumpy in the jar. You wanna make sure that there aren't any lumps. Once that's all mixed together, we're going to add all the other ingredients with the exception of the egg whites. So that's the pumpkin puree, the egg yolks, some vanilla, and the coconut oil, which we've melted and then cooled. We don't want it flaming hot to cook the egg yolks, but you still want it in its liquid form. And then I just give it a quick little beating with my mixer so that it's well combined. And then I'm going to set that aside. Now I have to wash the beaters or change them out for a fresh one before the next step because it requires clean beaters. So then I've got my egg whites and I give a little shake of some cream of tartar. That's optional, but it does stabilize the egg whites a little better. And then I begin to beat them. We're gonna start out slower and then turn it up higher. And we're just gonna keep beating these egg whites until we're at firm peaks. Not stiff peaks, but firm peaks. And I'll show you what that looks like. If you want a little primer, it's fascinating. I love it. It's one of my favorite videos. It's on Martha Stewart's website. So just go to Martha Stewart and look for egg whites. And you'll find they take you through the progression of beaten egg whites. And you will only enjoy that as much as I do if you are also a food geek. But go forth, enjoy. So as you're beating, you'll get to a point where you notice you can see patterns forming in the top of your egg whites. This is the point at which you have to start paying very close attention. You don't want to overbeat the white. So once you start seeing those patterns, you know you're in the ballpark. And you can just start watching it to see the signs of the type of doneness you're looking for. So what I do is I stop the beater, I pull my beater out and I pull it straight up into the air. And when I see the peak come up and then make a little swoop, that is what we're looking for here. So now we're just going to grab our other bowl of batter. And because it's pretty dry, we need to loosen that up a little bit. We're just going to scoop some egg whites into that bowl and just mix it in. We're just loosening that batter up a bit. Usually 2 to 3 is enough. And then it's kind of a little less dry. And then once we've gotten into that point, we're going to just plop those egg whites, the remaining bowl of egg whites, on top and begin to fold it in. So we're using that folding method where you've got this spatula and you're kind of scooping across the top and under and across the top and under. And you also want to kind of scoop through the center as well, because you don't want to just have a coating on the outside that's done right and then it hard in the middle. So you want to scoop through, but we're trying to retain as much of the lift of the egg whites in the batter as possible. Now, this recipe is pretty forgiving. If you over mix, it's not a big deal. You'll have just a flatter loaf. It just won't be as floofy, but it will still taste and feel amazing in your mouth. So don't stress too much. But we're just folding until we get a uniform look. You don't want to see white streaks anymore. And once we're there, we're good to go for putting it into our bread pan. Now you'll want to line your bread pan with some parchment paper, and I just sort of squish it in there and press it down and wrap it around the edges so it'll stick. You can also use muffin cups if you want to make muffins, but make sure you use liners or you use the silicone ones where they won't stick. Then transfer some batter into that container, and then Keep going until it's all in there. Smooth out the tops because that will make it look prettier. Then I always love to sprinkle for color and a little crunch, a little bit of pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds on top. They're such a pretty green color with that orange. And then a little dash of either cinnamon or the pumpkin pie mix that we've got. Then we're going to pop that in a 350-degree oven for around about 55 minutes. So somewhere between 50 and 60 minutes, depending on your oven. I have to tell you, this little pig cutting board that you've been enjoying is very special to my heart. My grandfather, who's no longer with us, made it when I was like 12, and I just adore it. So it's one of my treasured possessions, and it's perfect for my pork panko bread. Anyway, so when your pumpkin bread is done, you can check it by making sure there are no wet spots on top. Sometimes there are those little cracks that form, and in the little base of the cracks, you want to make sure that it's completely dry. And then let it cool. You can slice it and enjoy. Just a couple notes. First, it's better at room temperature. So store it in the fridge, but when you want to slice, take it out, let it come to room temperature. You can also warm it up by popping it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. If you go a little longer and let it get warm with some butter on top, it's almost puddingy, and that's how Dr. Berry likes it the best. You can also, as a reminder, make muffins, and you can make some frosting for it. So sky's the limit. Enjoy your pumpkin wonderland. This recipe is on my website at kimhowerton.com, as well as the recipe for the frosting. So check it out if you want some written instructions.